Did you guys see that video of that plane where somebody opened the emergency exit door and they just kept on flying and landed? And you see the video where you see sort of the sunlight hitting a few passengers who are in the front rows, and it's just wind whipping in their face, and you don't know how they're breathing. The first thing that everybody thought as they watched that video is, where the hell are those little drop-down things that you're supposed to breathe into?
Put it on yourself first and then the person with
Yes, yeah. Whenever cabin pressure changes, I would assume if somebody opens the emergency exit in the air, the cabin pressure changes. The explanation was the pressure didn't change enough because they were close enough to landing. I don't care. Give me the oxygen. Give it to me. I'd rather do that than
give it to me.
All of it. Like that to me, it's just a comforting thing to know. Hey, something's going wrong. Boom, that's coming down because they tell you it's supposed to happen.
What happened to the person that did this?
He got arrested.
He got arrested.
Or,
so
he or she, I'm pretty sure it's a he.
They did this while being seated and strapped in.
Right.
It's not it's not that comforting because they always tell you don't be alarmed if the thing doesn't like go up and down. Don't worry, the air is still flowing.
Yeah.
It's like no, I need to see
want
that
to
bag
believe
moving.
them though.
I need that bag moving.
I need that bag to inflate.
But it just reminded me of just like some terrible. You guys have told some bad plane stories recently. The worst one I have, it's not even that bad. I'll tell it really quickly. It was just me on a plane with a bunch of other media people coming back from the 2005 Eastern Conference Finals in Detroit, and Mr. Dan Le Batard was on the plane, and we were basically just fighting through some crazy storm clouds and crazy rain, and we didn't have an option of going around it or waiting, apparently. And they said that they're telling us, right? And so we're just like nose diving through these things, and it's just like you hear the engine rev up, and it's like, and you're just lifting up off your seat, and it's just like, man, is this the way I'm gonna go? Blah blah blah. And the thing I remember the most is first two things I remember. One, once we got under the clouds, you look to the left and you look to the right, and you're like, holy shit, those are bad storms on both sides. We went through the least bad of the three. That's crazy. And then when we're getting off, because we were in the back of the plane, Dan was in the back of the plane too. Dan gets up and he looks to me, he goes, you never get used to that. And I'm like, used to what, man? That happens to you all the time? Because I'm never going to fly with you again if it does. Because that was the first and last time I ever had a flight that bad.
Yeah, that sounds pretty scary. Usually turbulent stories become like a competition in Tommy Topper. I'm not trying to do that.
But I also said that mine was the least scary, so he's also just naturally
it seems
going.
bad. I was when I went to Europe, my bad luck continued with flights and didn't get hit by lightning this time, knock on wood. But
crazy,
I guess we were on this flight from Paris to Mykonos, and we were experiencing some pretty bad turbulence. And I'm the guy that's always like, you want to look at the flight attendants. If they're nervous, then you can be nervous.
So on my flight, real quick, they were nervous. There was this one guy who got up because I'm pretty sure he pissed himself, and the flight attendant tackled that dude, threw him into his seat, and said, "This is serious." And I was like, "Damn it!" And then that's when I started praying.
It all depends on like the protocol that they have. This was a European airliner, so we were going through turbulence as they were serving food, and they all hit the deck as soon as it happened, and they were holding on to the cart, and that's a little jarring, but that's just probably their European protocol. I'm not exactly sure. And then on my flight back from Athens into the States, I experienced a turbulence where people's heads hit the roof of the airplane. I guess some of the people weren't strapped in, and that you should be. My daughter got a kick out of it, but also she vomited like shortly thereafter.
Did that go to the?
No. Like it was after things settled down, and I guess the turbulence did make her nauseous. And I did the thing where I just cupped my hands because I didn't have the barf bag ready, and so she just yacked all into my hands as we're landing. And then we spent the next 12 hours in the Atlanta airport overnight. But yeah, it's turbulence. I keep telling myself that no plane has ever crashed because of turbulence.
Right.
But
Every crash has some sort of turbulence.
Do we
in it,
know
right?
that? We know that's true.
That's what they always say, right? That's what they say. But what if the turbulence causes
big
an
airplane
engine?
saying that, just trying to get you to continue flying.
And yes, Chris, I did pray, because if there's any place where I'm just going to kick aside any doubt, it's 30,000 feet in the air. It's like, if there's a chance that I'm wrong, you got it. Whatever you can do, just please get me down safe.
Amen.
My plane almost didn't take off a few weeks ago for the dumbest reason. they were not going to let us fly because the line to fly was too long. So we'd been sitting on the tarmac for like hour and a half. I'm like, what is going on here? And the pilot comes over the speaker. He's like, guys, we're probably like 15th in line, and if we don't take off by 8:57, we legally cannot fly. And it's like 8:50, and everyone is freaking out.
That's the rule for every plane on the line?
No. They get timed out.
Right.
He like didn't really do a good job of explaining the rule, but we had just been there waiting. They were like, "Sorry, line's too long."
This one
but
always
they let
gets
us
me.
Cut it, and we
Like,
got to go with a minute left.
Thank you. Just pull the Miami move. Just cut in front of another plane without signaling. You can get there. I mean, just could be like, give them. I'm on a timer. Like I gotta go, and you're just like, why do they have to stay in the back of the line? It's so dumb.
Yeah, pilots get timed out. It's happened to me where I've had to deplane because we were waiting for too long and the pilots got timed out. So sorry, your flight to South by Southwest isn't going to happen. And also, when we were in Atlanta and we got stuck in the airport overnight, this was the first time that a pilot himself came out and apologized and said, legally, we're not allowed to fly. The flight kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and they got timed out. So then no flight that day.
Yeah, he made an announcement. He was like, if we would have taken off 1 minute later, like, we would not have been able to fly, and you all would have had to deplane, and like the flight would have just been canceled.
So let's say
so
he
stupid.
did take off a minute later. Wherever you guys landed, would you all have gotten arrested?
Like,
What would have been the problem?
I don't think that we would have, because we took off at like 8:56, and 8:57 was the cutoff. So if it had reached 8:57, we would have had to turn around, deplane.
What happens at 8:57? He falls asleep.
Yeah, it's just like it's just done. It was so annoying, and everyone, I don't know. I'm anti-clapping at movies or planes and stuff, but everyone clapped when we took off.
Yeah, that's a Hispanic
And I guess
thing.
it makes sense because, we'd been waiting so long. But I still was not happy about it.
How about one time, though, for airplane brakes? Because anytime I land on an airplane, I'm always just like, I feel like the brakes could just go out right now. And even though we've landed, because you always, once you hit ground, you have this moment of just like,
Yeah, the
Well,
brakes.
how
won't
about
cut.
just the
but
wheels
then the
in
brakes,
general?
but then there's like the moment of, oh my God, we're going 300 miles an hour on this runway right now. We
Because
need
if
to slow
something
down.
goes wrong when you first touch the ground, it's still going to be very wrong. But that was one time where I was on a Virgin Atlantic flight, and the captain comes up and says, yeah, we're having trouble with our landing gear. We're not going to be able to get it down at the moment. Don't worry. Our last-ditch effort is going down there and doing it manually. And I'm like, please don't tell me they have to go down there and put the wheels down manually. And me, I'm kind of thinking, it's not a big deal. And I started thinking of old Chevy commercials where they would just have two pickups on the on the runway, and the plane would just land on top of the Chevy trucks, if that's a Chevy commercial. But and then people started crying around me, and I'm like, why? They're gonna get. And then I just started doing the math. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be terrible if they don't get the landing down. And then they finally, like about 10 minutes before. I think he said about 10 minutes before we were going to have to land anyway because of lack of fuel, that they finally got the wheels down and everybody started celebrating before we landed.
We have video of the thing that started this entire conversation, which was that exit door being open while someone was in the exit row and just curious. Was that the reason? Just wanted to see what happened. And as you can see, a lot of wind there, but no mask falling down.
It's like when you're driving on the highway. It's like, roll your windows up, dude. What are we doing on the highway?
Apparently the guy who opened the door said he felt suffocated, which first thing you need to do is just talk to a flight attendant, please.
Lucy goes highway windows down. That's not a move. I don't do that move.
Yeah, I love driving with my windows down. I think it's living in Iowa for several years where you just can't do it. I'll never go full window down on the highway because
like
that's
half?
ridiculous.
Nice.
But half, yeah, all the time.
Well, you also can't just do the one, right? Because then you get that weird sound.
What's up with that noise?
I have no idea what that is, but
What's
it
the
hurts.
science behind that noise?
No. What's this? Look at us, Chris. You're asking us for the science behind that noise.
Lewis just said in my ear, a helicopter.
See, Lewis knows everything.
In that video of that plane, you can see that there's a bunch of monitors. None of the monitors are on. I'd like to imagine that there's just someone there watching Finding Nemo. That's really inconvenient.
There's got to be somebody in the bathroom saying, I think I'm just going to hang out here because maybe it feels safer in here, right? Because you don't got the wind whipping in your face. Like, I would have jumped in the bathroom.
Everyone looks pretty casual, though.
Probably would have been able
Like,
to pee.
Look at their fingers, though.
Like,
Look at the
they're
death
holding
grip they
on,
got on
but,
those.
Like,
Yeah. That guy is way too casual in the aisle seat with the blue long sleeve shirt. He's just looking over every once in a while and just not making it a big deal. That's insane.
Apparently, this is called wind buffeting. In a nutshell, when you open just one window in your vehicle or the sunroof or moonroof, the air inside your car thumps up against the faster moving air outside the window.
So it's just air thumping up against each other.
This
on both
article
sides of the
from
glass.
carandriver.com has a lovely little subheading explaining that says, "Gimme Buffett." Get it? Because Jimmy Buffett
Does it say it's good or bad to do or indifferent? Because it does
hurts my
something.
ears.
seems indifferent.
Feels
Seems
like it
more of
does
just
something
an
to my
annoying
ears
thing.
that I don't find enjoyable whatsoever. What's the speed limit in Iowa?
You can go pretty fast there.
How fast do people go there in the winter?
In the winter, not fast. I'm not good at driving in the snow, and people out there very much are, so I would avoid driving.
I'm a South Florida person. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything?
my
Like, why would the winter? Why would she not be able to drive fast in the winter? I was like,
That-
you idiot! Why are you asking her that?
It
Weather,
is
that's right.
Terrifying driving in the snow in Iowa. I will say I drove from Iowa to California, and when I drove through Utah, speed limit was like 85, and it was awesome.
I made that drive. I did a COVID drive from
Kive.
Salt Lake City to Fort Lauderdale. And it's like Anthony was driving, and I'm just like, we're going 100. And I'm just like, are you sure we're not? He's like, look, it says 85. I was like, okay, you're good.
If you guys are anything like me, you look around on a plane to see, is this one going down or is
Yeah.
this one
Oh,
not?
yeah,
And you're
yeah.
picking out the families. But I saw a tweet
That
recently.
dude's not dying.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
But
looking for
I
cute
saw
kids, only cute
a
kids.
tweet recently that I thought was really good, which is someone said that instead of doing that, they pick out their cast as if they were to end up on the TV show Lost. So you pick your like 6 main characters and you create backstories for them, and it eases their anxiety. And so
Yeah,
I think I'm going to
dying
start doing
brother.
the same thing.
My vanity is such that I was looking around my flight. I'm like, I'm not the headliner here. It's
If-
like women's basketball team goes down in a fiery crash, and I'm just like,
It's people that look like they smoke cigarettes that you don't want to be on the plane with.
Mm.
So those are the people that you look at and you're like, we're going down.
Yeah, I look for cute children. I feel like, if anybody's meant to go, it's not the cute kids.
I got to rattle off the achievements, and Elite Eight's going to be coming way before the big game. And I was just like, I hope this one doesn't crash for that reason. Can't go out like
But
that.
you'd be cool dying in a plane crash if you were the headliner.
Yeah, I got to be the headliner.
Yeah.
Got to be the headliner. I was on a flight once with the Big Show. I'm like,
I was on with Bob McAdoo. I was like, we're not going down. He won't go out like this.
Former NBA MVP. Also Chris Cody.